I met her in 2001. She's Assyrian. She was part of the Assyrian Church of the East. She became a Catholic nun. Do you guys want to know why? And I'm an eyewitness to it. Crystals, I want you to hear this about this sister. I'm an eyewitness to it, as is my friend, Ninos de Caleta. He was there. We were both there. I met her in 2000. She was of the Assyrian Church of the East. There you go. She wanted to revive this ministry of nuns for the Assyrian Church. She was devoted to give herself to Christ entirely. Sadly, I was a staunch anti-Catholic Calvinist at that time, and I debated with her because I'm stupid. I wish I could see her and hug her and kiss her and say, you were right. She would go into the Assyrian Church of the East and have all the children pray the rosary. She was Assyrian Church of the East. She left the Assyrian Church. You want me to shock you why she left? And I was there. I saw the letter in her hand. So people don't think I'm lying. So I don't say, oh, you're one of her bishops. Now remember, I was anti-Catholic, anti-Orthodox, and they're trying to convince you to come to the Assyrian Church. I wish I could see her and hug her and kiss her and say, your prayers were not in vain. I've now come to the fullness of the faith. You know why she left the Assyrian Church of the East? Crystals, everyone? One of her bishops sent her a letter saying he wants to marry her. If she steps down from being a nun, he'll step down from being a bishop and marry her. She was heartbroken and devastated. Why would a bishop who knows he can't get married ask for my hand in marriage? And she had the letter in her hand. I saw it in her hand. She was heartbroken, and she left the Assyrian Church of the East because of that. They drove her out. Assyrian truther, I saw the letter in her hand. My friend saw it. I heard it from her mouth in Chicago. Not lying. So they can't tell me I'm lying. I'm an eyewitness. See? This young woman. She's Assyrian. In other words, she's Chaldeans. She's one of us. The priest was jealous of her. The priest used to be angry. And I heard this with my ears. The Lord repay them for what they've done. And if they lie, the Lord repay them and expose them. The priest, I heard with my own ears, told me, who does she think she is? She's getting all the attention. We got to drive her out. The priest, an Assyrian priest. And he's still a priest. One of the bishops, who's still a bishop, was trying to get a Pakistani woman to whom sexual favors. She recorded the conversation and then told him if he doesn't pay her a huge sum of money, she's going to go public with the recording. And the priest who heard the recording said it's true. And then they went to court. They had to settle out of court, give her money, a gag order for her not to go public. Yes, soliciting, that's the term. Where do you think that bishop got the money from? An Assyrian bishop. I know this too to be true. So what am I trying to get at? There are corrupt bishops, priests everywhere. Everywhere. Okay? So you think the grass is greener on the other side? The only reason why you should change one church for another church that's ancient is if you're convinced that a certain doctrine is not true. So if you're Catholic, you study, well, I'm not convinced the papacy is true, jump on over. Oriental Orthodox, Eastern Orthodox, be my guest. But expect to find the same corruption there. That's the only reason. All right? We got it now? All right, well, now hopefully we got it. Okay, everyone got it now? What am I trying to tell you? I'm not trying to attack anyone. I'm trying to tell you there are corrupt leadership everywhere. Why are you shocked? Did the bishop do something worse than Solomon? The bishop of the Assyrian Church, did he do something worse than Solomon? No. That bishop of the Assyrian Church do something worse than David? No. See, again, you're shocked. But wait, why are you shocked? I just told you David murdered a man after getting his wife pregnant. A Gentile who converted and loved and worshiped the God of Israel, Uriah, Yah is my light, who was fighting in the armies of God, against the enemies of God, whereas David was kicking back in his palace. So the bishop, what he did to the nun, was that worse what Solomon did and David did? Got the point, didn't you? Quickly. Does that mean the Assyrian Church is corrupt? No, it means there are wolves who are corrupt that are infiltrating, like you have wolves that are corrupt that are infiltrating the Vatican, even Masons. Even though the Catholic Church has been one of the leading voices condemning Masonry, speaking out against Masonry. The Catholic Church has been at the forefront condemning, calling out Freemasonry as evil, as being unbiblical, anti-Christian. And lo and behold, we got Masons infiltrating. So from now on, I'm going to retitle this. I'll try to find the other video playlist. Can you stop being scandalized by what's taking place? It was taking place during the Old Testament, taking place even among the Lord Jesus Christ, taking place even among the apostles, to the point that in Revelation chapters 1 to 3, 7 churches started by apostles in Turkey. In fact, one of them is Ephesus, where Paul wrote a letter to. 5 of them are becoming so corrupt, the Lord rebukes and chastens them and says he's going to remove them. 5 out of the 7 churches established at the time of the apostles, right? But what does that tell you? Are you noticing a pattern? For every corrupt wolf leader, God will make sure to raise up a true shepherd, true leader, filled with the Spirit to call them out. So he'll never leave the church without true leaders. Are you seeing his faithfulness? How do we know 5 of the 7 came corrupt? John the Apostle wrote rebuking them. How do we know that Marcion was a heretic? How do we know that Arius was a heretic? How do we know? Because the true bishops, empowered by the Spirit, were there calling them out. And that's how it's been from the beginning. And will continue to be so until the Lord returns. You seeing the pattern? So that's why you had, even in the Catholic Church, people calling out some of the things the Pope did. Now, people condemned them, saying they're going against Catholic teaching. No, they were the Pauls to the Peters. And even though they got called out, and some of them were removed from their office, they didn't give up on the Catholic Church. Did Father Strickland leave the Catholic Church because Pope Leo pretty much removed him from his position? No, he's still a diehard Catholic, Bishop Strickland, because he loves the Catholic Church. He's fighting for the Catholic Church. So you can take away his office, you won't remove him as being part of the Catholic Church. You understand where I'm going with, right? Wasn't it Father, right, Bishop Strickland, who was removed? I can't keep up with all that. Bishop Strickland, right? Did he stop going to the Catholic Church? No. Did he abandon the Catholic Church? No. Does he hate the Catholic Church? No. Does he still love the Catholic Church? Yes. Does he still take? Yes. He removed from that position, wherever he was. You get my point? He didn't use that to say, well, all the hell with the church then. No, hey, I don't care what happens. I'm fighting for the church of Jesus Christ, and I'm a part of that church. I don't care about my position. In fact, some of the greatest defenders of the faith were attacked by the church. In fact, didn't one of you tell me that Padre Pio himself was opposed by the Catholic Church and now he's a saint? Didn't you also tell me, was it who? Saint Alphonsus Liguori? He had his own order taken away from him, but now he's canonized. You see how it works? God has a sense of humor, right? God has a sense of humor, does he not? Are you following the pattern? Those people who loved the church and fought for the church were opposed by the church. And later the church realized their mistake and canonized them. Did they leave the Catholic Church? Did Padre Pio say, all right, it's like that, I'm going to go and become Oriental Orthodox? No. He said, no, I know this is the Church of Jesus Christ and I'm to be here. I don't care what they did to me. They can't do to me, right, anything worse than they did already to my Lord and his apostles. They didn't do what Martin Luther did, the tool of Satan. Sorry I went on this rant. I really apologize. Yep, see? Even in Eastern Orthodox, they said it happened to Saint Nectarius. I'm sure the Eastern, because I'm not too familiar with the Eastern Orthodox, I'm sure the Eastern Orthodox will tell us about saints who loved the Orthodox Church, fought for it till they died, but their enemies was the church. Only later to realize, man, these people were saints in our midst. So is the light switch going? Is light switch on? Do you understand now? Don't tell me about what the Pope did, and he went to Salon and blessed the lasers used to remove hair. Don't tell me about the Pope going to a salon and blessing all the wigs that women will wear. I don't care, man. Let him do what he wants. I don't want to hear it anymore.